You know that feeling, right? That one really important thing is just sitting there, looming, and your brain just goes, I'll do it tomorrow. We've all been there. But what if I told you that tomorrow never seems to come for a reason that has almost nothing to do with being lazy? So let's dive into the surprising science of why our brains trick us like this, and way more importantly, how we can actually fight back.
Get this, a staggering 95% of people admit to procrastinating. 95%. That means if you do it, you're not broken. You're not uniquely flawed. You're just human. And just understanding that, really letting that sink in, is the very first step to conquering it.
Welcome to Project U, where small steps lead to big change. Hey, if you're ready to make that change, do us a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps us grow this community together.
Okay, so first things first. To actually beat this thing, we have to understand what procrastination is. Because it turns out, after looking at insights from a ton of neuroscientists and psychologists, it is not what most of us have been taught to think. I want you to really focus on that one word, voluntary. This is the whole ballgame right here. See, procrastination isn't your flight getting delayed, it's you choosing to put something off, even when you know deep down it's gonna make things worse for you later. It's this totally irrational choice to make our future self suffer, and that's the real puzzle we're here to solve.
So why on earth would we make that choice? Well, here's the good news. It's not a moral failure. You're not a bad person. It's actually a biological battle, a literal tug-of-war happening inside your brain between two very different parts. On one side of the rope, you've got your limbic system. This part of your brain is ancient, it's impulsive, and it only cares about one thing: what feels good right this second. And on the other side, you've got your prefrontal cortex. That's the more evolved, grown-up part of your brain, the planner, the part that thinks about long-term goals. Procrastination is just what happens when the limbic system yanks the rope and wins that tug-of-war.
TED speaker Tim Urban has this brilliant way of explaining it. He calls the limbic system the instant gratification monkey. And this monkey, well, it hijacked the controls, steering you away from that important project and straight towards a YouTube spiral that starts with a cool science video, but somehow ends 3 hours later with you watching interviews with pop stars' parents. Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so.
So here's the emotional trap that gets us every single time. It starts with a task that feels kind of unpleasant. That triggers negative feelings, stress, maybe boredom, or even self-doubt. Our brain, desperate for relief, immediately looks for a quick fix to repair our mood. And the easiest fix? Put the task off and get a little hit of dopamine from a distraction. So really, procrastination is just a flawed attempt to manage our bad moods.
Okay, before we get to the toolkit, we have got to clear out some mental junk. Let's do a quick rapid-fire myth-busting round. Let's get rid of these bad ideas that are probably holding you back. Ah, the big one. This is the myth that does the most damage. We beat ourselves up, right? We tell ourselves we just lack willpower or that we're just plain lazy. But as we just saw, the research is crystal clear. This isn't about productivity. It's a way of coping with tough emotions. Think about it. You're not avoiding the task itself. You're avoiding the feeling the task gives you. That's a huge difference. Oh, we love this one, don't we? Because it sounds like a good flaw to have. Oh, I just want it to be perfect. That's why I can't start. It's a really common story we tell ourselves, but it's just not what the data shows is the real driver.
Here's the truth. Decades of research have pointed to the single biggest personality trait linked to procrastination: impulsiveness. It's that tendency to choose smaller, immediate pleasures, like watching one more video, over larger, delayed rewards, like finishing your work. The more impulsive you are, the more likely you are to put things off.
All right, now that we know what we're really fighting, which is our own emotions, not just the clock, let's get practical. Here are 5 science-backed tools you can start using like today. First up is the 10-minute rule. Look, the absolute hardest part of any task is just getting started. So make a simple deal with yourself. You only have to work on that thing you're dreading for 10 minutes. That's it. Anyone can do 10 minutes, right? What you'll find is that once you break through that initial wall of resistance, you often build enough momentum to just keep going. Overwhelm is procrastination's best friend. So you have to fight back by making things smaller. You don't write a book. You write one good sentence, then another. Break that huge, scary project down into the tiniest possible concrete tasks you can think of. This shrinks the fear and starts what psychologists call a success spiral. This is all about using what are called pre-commitment devices. Basically, you're making a deal with your future self before your willpower has a chance to fail you.
The whole idea is to add friction. Make it harder to get to your distractions and make focusing the easy path, the path of least resistance.
Now, this one might feel a little counterintuitive, but trust me, it is incredibly powerful. When you procrastinate and then beat yourself up about it, all you're doing is adding more stress and shame to the pile, which just fuels the next cycle. Studies actually show that people who practice self-compassion after a setback are way less stressed and much more motivated to try again.
Our final tool is a pretty radical mindset shift from Dr. Neil Fiore. It's called the unschedule. So instead of filling your calendar with all the work you have to do, you schedule your guilt-free fun first. The dinners, the walks, the hobbies, put those on the calendar. This totally reframes your work. It becomes the stuff that fits in between the good parts of life, not some endless mountain you have to climb.
So why does all of this matter so much? Because, look, overcoming procrastination isn't just about ticking more boxes or getting more done. The real cost of chronic delay, it's so much bigger than we think.
On a massive scale, the estimated economic cost of lost productivity just from workplace procrastination in the US alone is over $1 trillion. $1 trillion! But honestly, the most important cost isn't economic at all. The true cost is deeply personal. It's the cost of regret. Long-term procrastination can make you feel like a spectator in your own life. And the deep frustration isn't that you couldn't achieve your dreams, it's that you never even felt like you could start chasing them.
So if there's one single thing you take away from this, let it be this. Beating procrastination is not about becoming a productivity machine. It's about learning to manage your emotions so you can finally get out of your own way. It's about closing that gap between the person you are today and the person you know you could be. Which really just leaves one question.
Remember, beating procrastination isn't about being perfect. It's about starting, one small step at a time. This is Project U. Let's grow together. If this was helpful, please give it a like, comment below with the first small step you're going to take, and of course, subscribe to Project U.